Every March, hundreds of Native American artists descend on Phoenix, Arizona for the annual Herd Museum Guild's Indian Fair and Market. This year was the Herd's 55th season. Around 750 of the best artists are juried into the show from thousands of applicants.
It's like Hollywood for artists here that have perfected their craft to be considered among that high rank of artists is like such an honor.
Shaax Saani from Juneau, Alaska, is a recent transplant to Santa Fe and a first-year participant in what locals call the Herd Show. She is one of a handful of Northwest artists that come to Phoenix to sell their art. The stakes are high, and the show is competitive. Some artists make an entire year's income in 2 days. Others make the journey and sell nothing. In a show dominated by Southwest artists, some come simply to introduce the world to forms many have never seen. Tsimshian basket weaver Loa Ryan of Bremerton, Washington.
I love it, mostly because it exposes me to collectors, and it also exposes me to the sun. It's warm, and the people are very friendly, so I do enjoy it. It's history more than it is just having a basket in their hand. Now they'll know something about it.
Just over 20 years ago, Loa had never woven a basket.
I started taking classes with the Sklallam tribe in Washington near Kingston. I liked working with cedar bark, and when I first learned, my very first day, I stayed up until 3 in the morning, stripping every piece by hand. And I called my mother the next day and said, "Mom, was anyone a basket weaver?" And she said, "Yes, your grandmother was a weaver on my dad's side." And then the 2 great-grandmothers were also weavers.
Realizing she wanted to revive traditional basket making in her culture, Loa took matters into her own hands.
I traveled to the Museum of Civilization in Quebec. I spent from 7 in the morning until 9 at night studying our baskets. I had the helper in the museum pull all the numbers that I wanted to see, and I visually inspected, handled, and wrote down everything and took pictures of all those baskets so that I could learn the correct way of my ancestral weaving. And that was a great study.
The Herd Museum is home to the Berlin Gallery, an extension of the gallery shop where collectors can find the works of the most celebrated contemporary Native American artists from yesterday and today. The Berlin Gallery is a way to introduce older and newer collectors to the changes and trends that are taking place in the Native art world. 29-year-old Rose B. Simpson of Santa Clara, Pueblo, is on the cutting edge of Native American contemporary art. She is a product of a free-spirited and creatively experimental mother, famed ceramist Roxanne Swensel. During this year's Herd Show, the gallery featured several of Rose's sculptural pieces as well as line drawings that depict the human condition.
The point is, how can you better yourself to the point where you can be a good help to your community, the best person in a community? Growing up, I had a stepdad who's a potter named Diego Romero, and he puts comic book imagery in sort of traditional style pots, and me and my sister used to dig through his comic books all summer long.
She learned how to torture herself with the precision of the line and then brazenly break them in her ceramic sculpture made from porcelaneous stoneware. The result is otherworldly for the young woman who has learned to gracefully live in a difficult world around her.
I'm the kind of person who is interested in the aesthetic moment. And so when I start trying to make something that's perfect, I start judging myself and criticizing myself up to the point where I'm absolutely miserable.
Art has allowed her to find her way, infusing Native values into the everyman's world. Rose is helping to usher a new, unapologetic generation of artists into the limelight. Speaking of unapologetic, Tlingit artist Shaax Saani took first place in diverse arts at this year's Herd Show for her sealskin slouchy bag adorned with wolf fur and abalone accents. As part of her business called Indigenous Princess, Shaax Saani hand makes clothing, jewelry, and accessories in a contemporary, high-fashion style with traditional materials.
I'm a skin sewer, and I work primarily with native materials to Southeast Alaska. My favorite is sealskin. I also work in sea otter and any other furs that my hunters bring me. It's about strength, it's about culture, it's about being Tlingit. The power that is really behind our work is the land.
She says she struggles with the concept of making something utilitarian because traditionally everything from a spoon to clothing is made beautiful. While many outsiders worry about the effect seal and otter hunting has on nature, the Tlingits have a long history with these creatures based on tradition and respect.
Alaska Natives are the only people that can hunt the seal and the sea otter. They're protected by Marine Mammal Act that it allows us to hunt when we need to hunt, and there's a very healthy population. We could take another 80% if we wanted to and still have a very healthy population.
Shaax Saani, like many Native women who attend the herd, has a spirit and an artistic will all her own. Paul Niemi, KGMI News Talk, 790.